94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city. I'm Wanda Coppage, back with you on another Sunday evening with another great conversation. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking to two of four business owners that you have to know about these brothers because they're one from Waterbury, Connecticut, and two, they have their own alcohol. Their own alcohol. We have to get into their stories. So I am going to welcome Mr. Dakar Franklin and Obee Byrd. Welcome to the Electric Drum, fellas.
Hey, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you a
being
lot.
here.
Thank
When
you a
I
lot.
when I say when I say they have their own alcohol, it makes me think of Coming to America. When he said they have their own money, you guys have your own alcohol, and it's called 1970 something, and it's bourbon. Yes.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Well, since I have two of the four, Paul Cannady and Sean Dorantes are also a part of this collaboration. But the two that I have here, I want to start with you guys. Obee, let's start with you. You're from Waterbury, Connecticut, yes?
Yes, that's correct. We're all from Waterbury, born and raised. And me, Paul, and Sean still live in Connecticut. And the car right there, he's down in Virginia. But we're our roots are here. We're Connecticut boys. So.
Dakar, what part of Virginia are you in?
So I live in North Chesterfield, Virginia, but I'm born and raised Waterbury, Connecticut. Through and through.
Chesterfield. That's over there by Petersburg, yes?
Correct.
Because I went to Virginia State University. I know all about that area.
Obie and I went to Norfolk State, so
Yeah,
Really?
you know the connection between those two schools.
Absolutely. That's fam right there.
Yeah, my sister Tracy went to she graduated from Virginia State.
Wonderful. So we're already family. We just broke the ice. So we're just going to have a family conversation.
My father actually taught there too.
At Virginia State?
Yeah, he has a doctorate. He's Dr. Franklin. He taught in the education department.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So you both are business owners now. Since you went to Norfolk State, did you major in business?
No, no, no. We didn't.
I did, but I changed my major.
Okay.
But look, I was young at the time. I was, just trying to figure out my way on some things. And unfortunately, I didn't finish at Norfolk State. I ended up leaving Norfolk State and coming back up here and finishing later in life at UB,
Okay.
University of Bridgeport.
Well, before we get to the University of Bridgeport, Obie, you said you all are from Waterbury. You grew up together?
Yes, yes. So we've all gone to started in middle school. I met this guy right here at the car, man, sixth grade. Dude came up to me and started talking to me. I'm not trying to talk to anybody. He's talking to me, sitting right next to me, and we were like 11 years old, and we've been tight ever since. And we met, we knew Sean and Paul about what, eighth grade, ninth grade, and stuff like that, and. So we've all been tight since about freshman year in high school, doing everything that we've done in life, and been through, watched everybody had their kids and everybody go through their ups and downs, and been there for each other throughout the time. It's been a great friendships. Everybody always asks how you guys stay so tight, or where the other one at, and when you don't see the one of the other ones, or something like that. And I don't know, man. We just connect. It's just a bond that we have. I can't even describe it.
Well, when you were younger, did you say to yourselves, when we get older or when I become an adult, I am going to do this and I'm going to do this with my brothers. I'm going to do this with y'all. Was that ever a conversation?
No, that wasn't a conversation. We kind of always just knew that,
Yeah,
We,
but we always just moved together as four, like one. So whatever was going to happen, we was always going to do it as whatever it would be. It was going to be four. Whether we went to play basketball, Riverside Park, whatever, we all doing it. You know what I mean? So it was inevitable.
So tell us about, and I have Dakar here, I have Obee here, and Sean actually just joined the conversation as well. He might be muted, but Sean, if you can hear me, how are you? And thank you for joining us.
I'm pretty good, pretty good. How's everybody? I apologize for being a little bit late. Just want to add a little bit something to that story and that question that you just asked. The funny story I'm surprised the car didn't tell you is, I think it was eighth grade. The guidance counselor said to me, you're not going to be friends with these guys forever. And I remember running down the hallway crying to go find Dakar. Like, tell me we're going to be friends forever. You got to tell me we're going to be friends forever.
I was freshman year. Yeah,
she was wrong. She was wrong.
Because they do say that. They say look to your left, look to your right. They're not going to be here when you graduate from high school, or you won't be friends. But that was not the story with you four. You remain friends. So I have Sean, I have Paul, well, Obee, and I have Dakar. One of you, let's go with you, Dakar. Tell me what it was like growing up in Waterbury, Connecticut.
And it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Nah, it wasn't really worse. Nah, it was the era was great for us because back then you could walk around the city. You can go to where you had to go to. You didn't have to worry about all the crime and stuff. We definitely grew up in the hip hop era. It like came in at that same time. So that kind of helped to cultivate us into like the kind of like the culture and the men that we are today. Like a lot of stuff revolves around that with us. Music definitely guides us. But the city itself, we had fun, played basketball like everybody else. Meet up at somebody's house whenever, listen to different music, play different sports together. But the city in itself at that time, it was very fun, very active. You can get into lots of things. And you can definitely move around the city. You don't see that today as much with the kids, but that was my perspective at the time.
Now, Dakar, do you have siblings?
I have three sisters and a brother.
Okay. Are you the youngest or the oldest? Where do you fall within that set?
I was the baby up until my brother came. He's 13 years younger than me. So my brother,
wow.
Yeah, my brother is the youngest now, Jordan Shell. And I have three older sisters, and that's when I was telling you Virginia State. One of them went to Virginia State, one went to A&T, one went to Howard. Actually, two. I'm sorry, my brother went to Virginia State too. So
all HBCUs. I love it.
Yes.
And Obee, what was it like for you growing up in Waterbury?
Oh man, like he said, it was great. It was great. I mean, I'm still real good friends with a lot of people that I came up with throughout Waterbury with the projects. But these are my guys that are real tight. It was a working class, blue collar. Everybody was out grinding. I have a lot of family that was here, and I still couldn't name all of them because it's like, yo, everywhere I go, someone's like, yo, you my cousin, we cousins, and I was very blessed to have mother and father that had connections throughout the town, and so it was a great time for me. I never had to worry about anything going down or nothing like that. So it was real good. I'm real good with everybody around here, man.
I don't know, because looking at you guys, y'all look like you used to be trouble.
Hey, well, notice Sean's camera ain't on. He might be the trouble. Oh, there you go. That's
there it is.
Just in time.
And I'll just tell you, if Paul was here, Paul's definitely would give a shout out to Waterbury, and we definitely have fun with him, with the crew too. So he would give that shout. But Sean's the trouble guy right there.
And that's Paul Cannady. But Sean, thank you for putting your camera on. Tell us about your upbringing in Waterbury.
My upbringing was similar to my three buddies. Born and raised here. My parents came from the Bronx in the 50s. They set up shop up on Long Hill. Excuse me, they actually were off of Walnut Street, and then they moved up off of Long Hill later when they purchased their first home. I have one younger sister, two older sisters who kind of molded me through my life. That with my friends, but it was grew up on these. I don't want to say mean streets because they were friendly streets back then. The friendly streets of Waterbury, where people took care of each other and we looked out for each other and made sure everybody was on the right path. So without these streets, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
I know that's right. And I had a chance to ask these gentlemen about going to school. Did you also attend university? And if you did you major in business?
I was not a business major. I am Slocum School, North End, Wilby High School, spent a little bit of time in Waterbury State Tech. And then, I wasn't going to class on a regular basis. And my father said, you know what? You don't want to go to school. You're going to get a job. And he got me the job that I'm currently at right now and serving as the director of operations for all of our East Coast nonprofits. So that's my journey to where I'm at. And I learned my business acumen through that, through hard work and through dedication.
Nice. Now, Sean, you mentioned that you came up in the era of hip hop. So I as I'm talking to you guys and looking at you, no thoughts of being an R&B group or a hip hop group back in the day?
That's that guy. That guy, Obee, he's R&B. I'm hip hop.
every time these guys want to get together, they want to take an R&B picture, and I tell them we ain't R&B. We got to take this hardcore. You know, we got.
Sean, you got to explain what you're holding up for us right now.
That's the R&B picture if we had one. Right
Nice.
We ain't playing that, but that's just how it came out.
That's
that was at
classic.
an Shane concert too. Shout out to Shane.
So I'm speaking to the brand owners of 1970-something. It's a bourbon brand, a bourbon company. These four men have been friends since their childhood days, growing up in Waterbury, Connecticut. We have recapped already with Dakar, with Sean, with Obee. Paul is not here with us, but he's a part of this group as well. And we spoke to them about their upbringing and also going through school and college. Now, Dakar, you stayed in Virginia. The other three, you guys are here back in Connecticut. How did you remain connected? It's difficult at times when you go your separate ways. You travel along your journey and your path, but you guys stay connected.
I'll just say for me real quick, because I was the one that was always away. So when I went to college, I left Norfolk State. I didn't finish there. I finished somewhere else.
Okay.
But when I left, I joined the Air Force. So I was gone for 20 years. I retired Air Force. So
thank you for your service.
You're very welcome. But so during those times, and it's just like now, I've never lost contact. They've never lost contact with me. Like I said, these are my brothers. They get conversation. We talk every week. We talk about everything that under the, we have issues too. We have good times. We have bad times. We have issues. We got to bounce stuff off each other.
Right.
Like I remember when I was retiring, I was talking to Obee like every day, like, yo, man, what do you think about? Because I was trying to figure it out. But we stay contacted. We have technology to help us. We were talking ourselves. Now we got Zoom. So we've always been connected. I came home a lot too back then.
Okay.
So I was stationed in New Jersey and I got to get home, but I would never lose, and I have never lost contact with these guys. They never lost contact with me. So it's always been since the day we met. I mean, that's just what it is. I don't even know how to explain that. And Sean probably or Obee got some different words they could say, but from my point of view, they're my brothers, and it has not been a gap of time that I could think of that they weren't there.
That's beautiful. Obee, you look like you wanted to say something. You want to add anything?
Yeah, because back then, there weren't no cell phones. We had these phone card things. It was like phone cards. I don't know how it happened, but
hold up, Scuff. She went to Virginia State. She knows about the phone cards.
Yeah,
yes, I know all about that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about that right now, how it was. But we would know when he coming back in town, and vice versa, and we would know how to get in touch with each other. And I guess we had to memorize phone numbers because we didn't have to do that now no more.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a different day.
Yeah. So it's it was tough for them, but we did it. I don't know. We made it happen.
I have some longstanding friends as well, some longstanding friendships that I met in elementary school, middle school, and we're well into our 40s now, married, children, and all of that, and we still remain friends. As men of color, would you say that there is anything that you can say to a young person right now about what to look for in recognizing those types of friends?
I'll say this, if you go back to Wilby High School, 1988, and you look at our yearbook, they asked us in this particular section, what would you will? And I willed to, I had 3 nieces at the time, and I remember willing, and it's in there in black and white. I will to my nieces and nephews, to my nieces, the ability to find good friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important because your parents raise you to a certain age, and then your friends take over. And if you pick the wrong friends, then you're in a world of trouble. And I was lucky enough to pick good friends with similar ideas, with that were driven, that of course we had, the combination of hip hop and sports that we loved in competition, but it was just that their ideals, the morals, how they were raised, and the streets that they were raised on, the city that they were raised through, the experiences that we had, all made us and helped us on this journey. And so what I say to the young folks out there, just be careful of your friends, of who you pick. They're going to be with you for a very long time. Not like that, the guidance counselor told us they're going to be with you for an extremely long period of time. So, make sure they have similar interests and are on that path to greatness.
Nice.
Their name so bad. That guy.
Would you like to share the name?
I am not going to say her name.
I got
Let's just say she was wrong, clearly wrong, because not only have you remained friends for so long, you are now business partners. You have this. I need to know the backstory of this. 1970 something. How did you come up with the name? Obviously, right?
Obee got
Oh.
that.
Look, we were like we're from the 70s, of course. We grew up in the 70s, the 80s. But that vibe, that 70s vibe, it works out for us, So that vibe and of course it just the hip hop of it, it all come back to it. And when you hear that vibe, 1970 something, that bang, that track by Biggie and stuff like that, it just comes off for us and explains everything in there. It ain't easy to get, you coming in hard times, but you're gonna grind and we're gonna be here. We're gonna do what we gotta do while we're here. So we're blessed to have each other as a team and and go through that.
So take us through the process. How did it start? How did it start to where the ideal came and you said, I think, or we think, who started it to launch this?
Let me set you up, Scuff. So Obee likes to cook, you know what I mean? He's 6'4" guy. I mean 6'7" guy, right? So we're all up in Connecticut. We ate good, we're sitting there sipping on something. And he comes downstairs. He's not, a computer guy at all. So he comes downstairs and he runs this thing like, yo, I got a PowerPoint for y'all. So we thinking it's a joke. We like, you with a PowerPoint? So he's like, nah, sit down. When he talks, we listen. So we, he started going through it and you could pick it up from there. Obee.
Well, the idea had been in my head for a long time. We've been drinking bourbon for a lot of years. And it was like, you know what? We don't see any of our brands, any people of color brands out there on the shelves. Every time we're buying, we're buying other people brands, and it's like, hey, we bought bourbon from Kentucky, New York, all over the country. We done bought brands, and hey, what about Connecticut? What about us? What about a black-owned brand? And it was like, hey, fellas, let's do our own thing and let's make that happen. And this is how we'll go about it. But I'm very blessed that the team was ready to pick it up and they believe in us and we've been drinking it a long time. And it was like, yo, it's only right, and let's show everybody else we could do it.
So that was going to be another one of my questions. Why bourbon?
Oh man, see that's the thing. That's our bourbon first and foremost. We get around and we start talking and hanging out, and it brings a level. Bourbon is a sip and drink that you can have great conversations and it break down barriers to people of all scopes of life. And the next thing y'all you feeling like you talking to some old friends, and just like we are old friends,
Right.
So it's a great thing, and I love introducing people to it, and I love introducing people to like, hey man, just relax and sit back and chill and stuff like that. But bourbon is so vast, it's so deep. I know, we could talk all day about it. I could,
You have a nice relationship with some bourbon.
Yes, indeed.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, there's complexities in bourbon, and there's rules and guidelines. It's not your simple spirit that you can just make. There's things that have to go into it, quality and care that have to go into it, love that has to go into it. And every bourbon has a story. We have our own story, right? And so when we sip our bourbon, when we sip a bourbon, there's a story behind it. But understand the quality of what goes into what you're drinking. And Obee will tell you that we spend a lot of time educating people on what they're drinking and what they're having. And he touched on this a little bit, and you did. Over 70% of spirits in this country are consumed by people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Yet less than 5% are owned by people of color. So that went into us. And how many people of color own bourbon? A lot of it are your vodka brands, your easier things to make, your gin brands. But bourbon takes a little bit more work, a little bit more care, an aging process, and that's us. We're a little bit more refined, right? A little bit more mature, and so that's why it was bourbon for us.
So, take me to the point for this is for you, Dakar and Sean. When Obee, and I have noticed that Dakar has been calling you Scuff. So if I start calling you Scuff, I'm part of the family now, right?
Oh man,
is that not what he's been calling you?
That's definitely, if you call me Scuff, you definitely know me from when I was a little boy. Yeah, you know me from a young time. So you
So
definitely know me.
when you saw the PowerPoint for you, Sean, and Dakar, what was going through your mind? Obviously, he had thought this out. It was well thought out. He put together a presentation. What were your thoughts at that time?
You want to go, Sean, first?
Listen, okay, so we could do this now. That's Scuff right there. That's 8. So we all part of the family, right? They call me Smitty, right? So I was at a complete standstill. Like you'd have to understand him bringing out Scuff bringing out a PowerPoint, what that means. Like
Yeah.
the guy still has a VCR.
He got a pager.
He has a pager, right? So it's so when he brought that, I was at attention. I was completely locked in, completely focused. And plus, there's different voices that we all use, right? There's serious voices, there's funny voices, and when he put on that serious voice, this is business. Everybody was at a standstill. We were locked in the screen, and we were all like, "Okay, where do we go? What's the next move? What's the next plan?" And he bulleted it out, point by point by point and point. And this is the direction we're going to take, and this is how we're going to do it. And I mean, you could hear a pin drop in the room. We were all just laser focused at that point.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Anything you want to add to Dakar?
Yeah, I think Smitty. I think he nailed it. The only thing I would add, well, he said it when Scuff starts off and he goes with the sentence and he goes yo yo yo. When he says it 3 times, it's real. So he started that with yo yo yo, and it was like, all right. Everybody just stopped laughing, smile, like, what's up? Because it's either gonna be something real and serious, and that, you know what I mean, like serious we got to talk about as a family or a crew, or it was gonna be some type of business. It was gonna be something. So when he started off, we were all like just waiting, and when he set it off with it, like I said, he had the bullet point, he had everything lined up. It was kind of a no brainer because it was already playing it out for us, like it was already there for us. So.
And are all of you, and as I mentioned, if you're just tuning in, thank you for locking into the Electric Drum. We are speaking to the brand owners of 1970-something Bourbon. They are from Waterbury, Connecticut, all 4. I have 3 of them here. Paul Cannady is absent, but Obee, Sean, Dakar, aka Scuff 8 Smitty. I think I did that correctly.
You got it. You got
we're
it.
talking about the birth of 1970-something Bourbon. And my next question to you is, so are you all investors in this product?
Yes.
100%.
So take us, when did you launch it? When did you start?
We started just before like 2019. We were in talks and lining things up far as with our attorneys and our paperwork with the state of Connecticut. And then COVID hit, and then everything was like, okay, well, you gotta call everybody on the phones. We got to get product shipped to us. It was hard to go visit distilleries and search out product and things of that nature. But we started 2019 and worked our way through the COVID situation and built our brand that way. So that's what we did there.
And Sean, you mentioned the education of it, like you yourselves had to be educated. But moving forward after that PowerPoint, obviously Obee is very serious about doing this. You're all in now. What's the next step that you took to educate yourself and to make sure that this actually gets out there as a product and not just an idea?
We wanted to make sure we had a good attorney because navigating the laws of the alcohol laws of this country in each state are very difficult. So we ended up, getting an LLC, getting our attorney, and helping him helping us walk through the process. And then, there was the fun part. All right, Scuff alluded to. You got to go out there and taste the product. You got to go out there and make sure that you're getting something of quality. So visiting site after site after site, but you are distillery after distillery after distillery, but you quickly realize that a lot of folks don't want to work with people that look like us.
Right.
You get to a certain point and they love your story and they love what you're about. But when it comes time to signing on a dotted line, they give you a pass or you're ghosted and you don't hear from them, ever again. And so that 3-year period was a lot of trial and error, was a lot of tastings, fun tastings, was a lot of visiting different parts of the country to see what that person was about, that distillery was about. I will tell you this, be careful. A lot of folks want to sell you junk. And if you don't know what you're doing, they're going to sell you junk. And so we wanted to make sure we wanted to put something of quality out there, something that represented us, represented our city and our state, and we were able to do that. We launched officially in April, and our first tasting, I'll get to the education part. Our first tasting, we sold 9 cases in an hour, which is unheard of at a
Wow.
tasting. And that was through the education process, and 8 right there doing what he does on social media. It's not uncommon for you to walk into a store at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock and see Scuff in the aisle talking to somebody about bourbon, and come in just before closing and he's still talking to that person, just educating them about what they're drinking and the history of it and everything that goes into it. And that's been the fun part. And because of that, we developed the following on social media. And because of that, at our first tasting, the store was overwhelmed by people who wanted to support. And we don't ask for anything but an honest opinion of what you're drinking. If you don't like it, bourbon's not for everyone. If you don't like it, or if you do, just give us an honest opinion. Feedback is always appreciated. But again, educate yourself. It's not all what it's cracked up to be. On that shelf, you're going to find some things that are $18 that are way more tasty than something that's $200.
Yes.
Just because of marketing and how they pitch it to our people, it's overpriced. But on that bottom shelf, there'll be a bottle of Evan Williams. They've been doing it for over 200 years. They know what they're doing. They know what quality is. And so don't pass up on that. Just educate yourself, understand what you're drinking, whatever it is, and appreciate the history.
Where can we go to provide that overwhelming response, that support? How can we get our hands on 1970 something?
The website is the place to go. If you go to 1970something.com, spelled out 1970something.com. Right there's a list of I believe we're close to 30 package stores in Connecticut now that carry us. We're about to be on a national platform or site that will allow us to reach people throughout the country. We're soon to sign on the dotted line there. And after that, we have something lined up to distribute to Africa. But the place to go to find out would be 1970something.com. Links to all our social media accounts are there. It does a great job of keeping that updated and getting the info out to people about where the tastings are at. So if you're signed up on to receive our newsletter, you're going to get the bottom line on 1970 something.
So what I love is I've had the opportunity to speak to each individual, each one of you. When you started, was there a clear, defined role that each of you would be taking in this endeavor? And was it spoken? Did you have to say, this person's going to do that? Just because you kind of seem like you know each other extremely well, and everything is just going to fall into place.
You want that stuff?
Well, yeah, I'll throw a little bit out there. We definitely knew, I kind of know these guys real well, and I know what everybody's kind of good at. So it's kind of like Sean would say, Dakar, that's social media. Sean, he definitely the connections with the business executives to move our product, and Paul, finances is his main thing. So we kind of knew, and as a team, Sean would say we come together like Voltron. And when it's time to form, we do. So everybody got their strengths, and that's how I knew what the team would be. And me myself, I'm a product guy. I know the product, so it was like, okay, let's go.
It's like, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Dakar.
I was gonna say it's like, and I'm not the social media guy. I'm an IT guy.
Okay.
I just happen to, know a lot of people in networking. So that's how that works. But I was just gonna say it's like when we used to play basketball, we know who's out of our crew gonna do what, and that's kind of how it fell in place the same way. You know what I mean? It's just a process that we've been doing it so long, it's kind of natural to us. So it might be kind of hard to explain, but it's a natural fit for who's gonna do what. It's almost like you didn't have to say, like Scuff wouldn't have had to say to me, like, yo, you're gonna do the IT stuff. It's like I already knew once he kicked it, like, okay, I'm gonna have to make sure we up on this. And
yeah, because that's the vibe that I'm getting from just conversing with you. It seems like there's, what each of the strengths, where you shine, and you just do what you do to create the team.
Yeah, as any friendship or brother or relationship you have in life, you should know the strengths and the weaknesses, and you help each other, and you know what I mean, in those
I
departments.
love that.
You step
So
in.
Would you say your personalities are kind of that of what you were growing up? Have you kept the same personalities and strengths?
I'll let Sean answer that.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so.
I got this thing that I say, right? It's it's very hard to change, but everybody evolves, and if you put a cheeseburger in front of me, you put a salad in front of me, I'm gonna gravitate toward the cheeseburger. Eventually I'm gonna evolve toward the person that eats salad. I'm getting there a lot now, as I appreciate vegetables a lot more than I did when I was younger.
Right.
But we've all evolved, and our strengths have evolved with us. Some of the things that I never thought that Scuff would be doing 20 years ago, he's highly successful at. Right. I'll bring this story. He's probably going to kill me afterwards. But I remember sophomore year, high school, Mr. Men's class, you get a 0 or 100, but all you had to do was go up there and talk about your summer. What did you do this summer? And he didn't do it. He said, I'll take the 0. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting up there. He could not speak in front of people. And to see him on this right here, on this platform right here speaking, and to see him in the stores and talking to execs and doing this comfortably, just explaining bourbon and explaining our brand, you would have never thought this back in the the fall of '85 and sophomore year in high school. And that's what all of us, our strengths have just evolved over time. But what we all have in common is this one thing: when the bat signal gets thrown up, we're going to be there. All 4 of us are going to be there. We need help. We need assistance. We need each other. That bat signal's up, and we're going to respond. So if that for a team, our strengths are each other's strengths. We have no weaknesses.
I love that.
Yeah.
And above all else, I love the business. I love the partnership, but I love the friendship. And you can tell that there is definitely a genuine friendship between the 3 of you. And I'm assuming the 4 as well, because y'all are still together. So
Paul's the glue. So
Paul is the glue.
Paul's the glue, for sure.
He puts it all together, makes it stick, for sure.
He's the glue, for sure.
I love it. Shout out to you, Paul. And I love 1970 something, the brand. You said you LLC this. So are you going to, is it just bourbon, or do you have something in the pipeline also under this brand?
Speak on it, Scuff.
Well, look, we plan to do a couple of different things. First and foremost, as far as the we just want to keep educating the people on bourbon, introducing them to the bourbon. We want to let them know there's more than just bourbon. There's bourbon with finishes. There's different proofs on bourbon. We want to open up the doors, because the Black women and the women of color in the game are just it's amazing. You have Fawn Weaver, you have Samara Davis. I could go on, Ebony Major. So we it's just about everybody learning and just introducing. So other products are going to come. Hopefully we can introduce the folk to some finishes on some bourbon, some Cabernet finishes, some port wine finishes, some cognac finishes on some bourbon. It's very, very a vast game, as I like to say, and there's a lot for people to learn, and hopefully people could give it a chance. So there will be something down the pipe. We always we feel like that no one know bourbon like we do, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up doors and introduce you to things, and you don't have to like them all. But you might find something in there, and you might know that education, or why we are the American spirit on bourbon, and why it's there's rules to it. There's nothing added to it, and when you get asked what is bourbon about, you'll know. Okay, hey, how many Black brands are on the shelf when you go to the store, and realize that, and this is what I want to try, and that's what we hope to do. So.
What about any recipes? Do you have any recipes using bourbon that you cook with?
Oh man, me? no.
Because Dakar said you like to cook. So are you splashing a little bourbon into one of your recipes? Maybe the cookbook might be next.
Well, I can see a bourbon what do you call barbecue sauce coming? That sounds about good stuff.
Okay.
We might have to incorporate you into this now.
Yeah,
I told you I'm family now. I know all the nicknames.
That's for real. That's for real.
I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining me today for your electric drum. Before I do wrap up, I'm going to throw it to all of you. Any last words from either of you that you want to share with our listeners?
Man, I'll start on. I just want to say thank you to you. The response that the welcome that we've gotten since we started, man, has been tremendous from, you know, all types of places. I mean, YBC to us, we grew up on that. So this, you got to imagine, this is like big to us. So thank you for your platform, and you know, everybody out there, thank you for the support. Waterbury, Connecticut, you already know what it is. Thank you for the, you know, everything. So I just want to say that to everybody and everybody's family. Everybody be happy. These are trying times right now.
Yes.
Just keep fighting and stay strong and be happy. That's all I got to say.
And that's Dakar Franklin, by the way.
And I just want to throw in there, look it, I want anybody that needs anything, they want to reach out to us on 1970something.com, reach out to us on the Instagram, on the Facebook, anyway. If they want to know something, ask questions or how they can make this happen or make it happen for them. The young people, the young folk, it's such a I want to, you know, I can't say it enough how there's different avenues. Like I say, you could be a blender in the whiskey game, a master blender. You could be a distiller. You could be so many different things we could do if you kind of knew there was a lane there for you. And so if someone's looking to know something, and I could point them in the direction where they can get more information, just reach out to us, and that's what we're trying to do.
And that's Mr. Obee Byrd right there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sean.
I'll just echo what my two brothers have said. You know, first of all, it's an honor to be here. We grew up on this station, so I feel honored. This is one of my favorite interviews that we've done so far, for sure, if not my favorite. Thank you. Welcome to the family. And
Thank
you know, just education, like just understand what you're drinking. Don't get bamboozled. You know, people are out there trying to sell you some things that are going to leave you with a headache in the morning, not leaving you feeling right. Just understand and appreciate what you're drinking. And for those who have supported us for day one, thank you very much. Appreciate everything that you've done for us. The city of Waterbury, the state of Connecticut, and all of the people who turned out in droves to support 1970 something. Thank you. It means a lot to us. And to close on what Scuff said, we've been through this. We've made the mistakes. You don't have to make them. Reach out. We're here. There needs to be more brands of color on that shelf. Reach out to us. We can help you. We'll assist you. It means a lot to us to be able to do that for you.
I love the each one reach one. I love that you're pouring back. You mentioned something, Sean. Do you have another tasting, another event coming up anytime soon where we can be there to participate?
Actually, the next event that we have is at Lord and Taylor's on, I believe it's November 19th. You'd have to go to our website, see 8 looking it up right now. They come frequently, though. I'll say this, like, we'll get a call on, we love doing tastings. We love to talk about this. So we'll get a call on a Tuesday and they'll say, can you do a tasting on a Saturday? And we're there. So the best way to do it, again, is to go to the website, sign up for our newsletter. And as soon as one happens, it's there. But I believe the next one is set for, when is that? 8?
Highgate Liquor Shop, 963 Main Street, Watertown, November 19th from 3 to 6.
There it is.
And then for all of the businesses, because I know we have a lot of business owners and organizations listening right now, we have to get you to New Haven to do a tasting. There are several businesses. When we finish this, we'll do that later. But I'm going to put you in contact with some people because love what you're doing, and we're going to support you. You have the whole city behind you. You have the state behind you. So, and that extends all the way down to Virginia, where Mr. Dakar is. So we just want to see you win, because you're right. If we can support other brands, we're going to support the ones with our names on it. Okay.
Thank you.
1970 something. And before I wrap up, shout out to Marquette Sutton.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
To him on Saturday night. He connected this interview. So shout out to you, Marquette. Fellas, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. We are family now. I'm claiming it. And when they tell your story and the interviews become more frequent, remember that you did it here with YBC, your home station.
This is the one. Right.
Just right. Salute YBC. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
It's the Electric Drum. Keep it locked. You have more great music coming in with Flashback Sunday. I am Wanda Coppage. Enjoy the rest of your evening and be blessed.
Be blessed.